Yo, we're back. I didn't do an episode yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and catch up today. Yesterday was a little bit of I don't know, I just didn't feel like doing an episode. It was just a rest day. It was a good one, but this may look a little different because I got a new web camera, and now that I have a web camera, I can hook it up to my computer. I was using my phone, so that's why the picture was always so good. My phone can take in 4K. I have, a Galaxy S20, so it's like it works out real well. But the sound was not always that great, and I prefer you to be able to hear what I have to say as opposed to see. And now I can use my mic and this little expensive job here. Now I can use that. So, good stuff. Alright, but what we're doing today is Escape from the Planet of the Apes. That is 1971. Nice crisp hour and 38-minute movie. I remember kind of loving this as a kid, teenager, whatever, growing up. This one was not your typical Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes is more of a suspense kind of sci-fi thing, and this was almost a drama. This was more about humanizing the apes, or basically humanizing Cornelius and Zira. You're supposed to sympathize with them. You're supposed to connect with them. And I think they do a really good job of it. So I wouldn't call it an absolute masterpiece like the first one, but it's still pretty good. So this is, let me get my little notes here. This is directed by Don Taylor. Now, Don Taylor, he went on to direct another movie that the people in my community will appreciate, and that is Damien the Omen 2. So, yeah, he went on to do Damien with the annoying little kid, the bad guy, and I thought Omen 2 was pretty good, though, even though the kid was annoying. This is written by Paul Dean again. He actually will be writing the next, this is the third Ape, so he'll be writing the next two after this. He wrote the last four Apes. So, it all, he's a writer. He's the one that wrote Goldfinger. Mentioned him in the last one. Our cast here is a little, you'll recognize some of them. Number one, Cornelius, Roddy McDowall. Roddy McDowall's back. I love Roddy McDowall. And his portrayal of Cornelius is amazing. I got a couple of clips that just show, how good he actually was. Next, we have Zira, Kim Hunter. She's back. This is her last Planet of the Apes movie. She does not come back after this. Roddy McDowall comes back for all of them, for 4 and 5. He only missed part 2, and that was because he was busy. We have more protagonists, our human protagonist. We have Dr. Lewis Dixon. He is the first ape sympathizer. So he is the first to hear them speak, all that good stuff. He's cool. This one is Dr. Stephanie Branton. This is Natalie Trundy. She may be recognizable because she was in the last one. She played the bald chick, the telepath. She played the female telepath. And then after this one, she's in the next two as Caesar's wife. So she plays an ape in the next two. Yeah, very interesting. And then our antagonist is Dr. Otto Haslin, played by Eric Braeden, who is the antagonist. He is the bad guy here. But the thing is he's not exactly... I can't rightly say he's just a bad guy. He's really just a guy that's trying to save the destruction of Earth. The whole point of this movie, the whole thing is these apes crash down to Earth, and they're like, where did they come from? What are they doing? And they tell this tale of the Planet of the Apes, like, oh, where we come from, apes are the dominant species, and humans don't speak, and everything else. And they're like, oh, okay, well, how did this happen? And Zero basically tells the story of what's going on. So basically, this Haslan guy is just trying to stop. He's like, well, we just have to stop the Earth from being taken over by apes. That's it. So I can't exactly say that he's a bad guy. He goes about it in really smarmy ways. So there is another ape, and that is Salmoneo as Dr. Milo. I mentioned him last, and he is a protagonist, but he is barely in the movie. And the reason why is because the actor that played Dr. Milo was terribly claustrophobic. And whenever they put on the makeup, he couldn't do it. He's like, look, dude, I cannot do this. And can we get me out of this movie? So during production, they had to kill him off early because, I mean, he didn't want to do it. He's like, I can't. So they had to basically rewrite this movie. And Milo was supposed to be a big part. He was supposed to be the scientist that explains everything. He explains time travel. He explains what happened to the apes. He explains the ape war. He explains everything. And because the guy was claustrophobic, they had to write him out of the movie. He's killed very early. He just didn't like the makeup. This is also the only Planet of the Apes sequel that got generally positive reviews, mostly positive reviews. This is the only one. All the other ape sequels just were kind of like mixed or completely negative, i.e. Battle of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Or Battle for the Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Those two were just trashed. And then you had these two, which were Escape from the Planet of the Apes and Conquest for the Planet of the or Conquest on the Planet of the Apes, which were both. Well, Conquest was mixed. This one was positive. So, this only one with positive ones. There were a few deleted scenes here that I would have actually liked to see. I actually wrote them down. There was a point when Zero is supposed to mistake a toothbrush for a hairbrush, and she was supposed to be brushing her hair with a toothbrush. She didn't know what that is. We were supposed to have a scene of Cornelius golfing. There is a montage scene where they are fitting into human society. It's kind of funny, actually. And they were going to have them doing all sorts of fun things. And one of the Cornelius, Cornelius goes to a boxing match. And this one, and it's funny because he goes to a boxing match right after he says, oh, us chimps are pacifists. Well, we're going to take you to a boxing match. Let's do that. Yeah, let's take a pacifist to see two dudes punch each other to death. Good job, dude. But they were supposed to go golfing. That's a pacifist thing. And we were actually supposed to see the Earth explode. During the beginning of the movie, there was a point where we were supposed to see all three apes in the spaceship and the Earth exploding behind them. They filmed it. They did everything. They just didn't put all the graphics to it. So it didn't happen. I would have liked to have seen that, but because they describe it later on in the movie, and the way she describes it's really weird. Like, there was a big white flash, and we saw the Earth's crust crumble, and there were tornadoes. And it's like, okay, cool. But so this whole movie, I'll start it off right out with, if you know Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Taylor set off the atomic bomb that destroyed the world. That was supposed to be the end of the franchise. That was meant to be the end of the franchise. But they decided, no, we're going to do one more. But how? How are we going to do one more? Well, we can say that they escaped off the planet on Taylor's ship. And see, that leaves a lot of plot holes for me. Because this is a planet of apes that, while intelligent, do not have technology. They don't have electricity. They don't have anything like that. They don't have even their tools. Their surgical tools are very archaic and very like just hammers and stuff like that. But somehow they have the intelligence to learn how to fly an ANSA spaceship. They learn how to take off. They learn how to land. They learn everything about this. And there is no instruction booklet. It's just there. They even kind of mention it in the court scene. It was like, oh yeah, Dr. Milo figured it out as soon as the plane landed. He got it from the water and then learned how to use it. They actually say halfway learned how to use it, and the U.S. government's like, wait, just halfway, and he figured it out? Like, yeah. So it's a little bit of a plot hole thing, but it's a lot of. I mean, we also have talking apes in this, so the suspension of disbelief is a thing in this series. But when the movie opens, it opens on the beach, and it's the same exact beach that we shot the ending of the first movie on. You can actually tell it's the same beach. It looks just like it, without of course the burnt down Statue of Liberty. But we're going along and we're like, okay, because this is actually how all the other apes have started, on this beach, just the waves crashing and everything. But this time a helicopter comes in, and you're immediately like, okay, so this one's going to be different. And the helicopter comes in, and they see the spaceship, and they get them out, and 3 astronauts step out. And then they take off their helmets, and it's apes. And then Escape from the Planet of the Apes automatically appears on screen, and you see the shocked faces of everybody like, what is going on? And that's when everything starts rolling. Like, oh, how did you get here? Like, what? How did this happen? What are you doing? Yeah, it's kind of. They end up locking them in a zoo because Dr. Milo tells everybody, don't talk. Like, if we're where we think, if we are where I think we are, which is Earth's past, apes don't talk. So chimpanzees need to, and of course they put them into a cage right next to a gorilla, which is funny. But we get the first kind of show of humanity by the apes when they are dressing. They actually get dressed. They take off their astronauts and get dressed, and the humans are like, are they dressing? Like, yeah, well, what did we get him to eat? And they were like, oh, did you give him like a slab of meat? Like, no, chimpanzees, like most apes, are vegetarian, so we got him like some oranges and stuff. And he's like, what? Yeah. And then we have a wonderful little scene, which I love. I've got 2 or 3 scenes here that I actually wanted to show. There was one that I wanted to show you, but it was far too long. So it was like 3 minutes. I'm like, no, I'm not going to subject you to that. I'll just explain it when it comes to. But we got this scene, which makes me laugh, and it shows what I mean by Roddy McDowall is a treasure, and how he can act with just his eyes when they're handing the oranges to them. And here it is.
Greg, maybe you should give them their oranges.
So Roddy is just, come on. And it's like, it's the coolest thing ever. Watching it with my fiance again, where she kind of watches it. She's like, she watches the first 5 minutes and then goes off and does her own thing. She got herself a new pair of headphones last night, so she was all about watching some shows. But she got, oh my god, it was so great. And she was like, okay, that was cute. And it's Roddy McDowall being Roddy McDowall, and he has probably the best line of the whole movie, which is coming up. But they do the gimme oranges, and then we kind of see the gorilla up close. which it's kind of, I mean, it's this, and like they couldn't spring for a real gorilla. Like, I mean, I know that picture, you can't really tell that it's a fake gorilla, but I mean, like, you have all these chimpanzees with amazing makeup, and then you have this gorilla that looks absolutely horrendous. Like it doesn't even come close to looking real. I mean, it is clearly a rubber suit, and this is like Toho Godzilla bad. Like early Toho Godzilla bad. And I don't mean Gojira. I'm talking about like Godzilla versus the Mothman of Planet 9. That's not a real movie, but it sounds like one. It could easily be one. The Godzilla versus the giant Geico caveman. I mean, it that bad. It was just like whenever Godzilla's fighting one of the monsters hit him, and you can see the rubber fold in. Like, it's, yeah, and or his head's flopping around. Like, it's really bad. You can see in the deep cut of the eyes, you can see the eyes back there, and it's like, come on, man, you couldn't spring for a real gorilla. But our doctors come in, and we're subjecting them to basically cognitive tests to see how smart they are. Like, oh, they arrived on a spaceship. They know how to fly a spaceship, so we know they're kind of intelligent at least. And they arrive. They get there. They put them through they like shape tests. He actually puts a shape up there, closes a window, and then puts more shapes. And like, which one was already up here? And Zira, of course, is the one who does it. I mean, she already pulls a seat out for herself, and he's like, all right. And she's pointing out, she's getting everything right, and he's just like, all right, you know what? He pulls the drawer out, and he's like, put them back in the shapes. He basically makes her play perfection. And he just, except the thing didn't, you know? I hated that game. Hated it. Like, I knew it was coming. The timer's going tick, 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 on the way down. And I mean, I see it hit 0, and every time still it pops, and I'm like, oh, like jump. I hate that game. Ugh. You know, it's like a Jack in the Box. You know it's coming, but they pop out, and you're like, you know? Ugh. But makes her play perfection, and she kills it. So, and then he's like, okay, well, then give her the banana test. And like, they have a banana hanging from the top, and she like builds a ladder out of these blocks, and she just sits there and stares at it. They're like, why isn't she going after it? And we get the first words spoken to the doctors, which is, because I loathe bananas. And that is actually a Kim Hunter thing. The woman who plays Zira, she actually really does hate bananas. She hated bananas before, but during the making of the first Planet of the Apes film, she was actually teased by a lot of the cast and crew because she was a chimpanzee, and they would always give her bananas. And she actually hates bananas. So, yeah, so she actually does loathe bananas. And, of course, the doctors are like, okay, they can talk. And, you know, you get the introductions. It's like, hi, I'm Zira. Hi, I'm Cornelius. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I like you. I'm like, oh, okay. So we automatically like everybody. This is nice. So it's kind of cool. But right whenever they leave, we get what I was talking about with Dr. Milo. They kill him off. The gorilla actually grabs him like this. Grabs him and chokes him out. So, yeah, chokes him, kills him. That's the end of Dr. Milo. And it was all just because he hated the makeup. It's like, I'm claustrophobic. I hate this. So, it had nothing to do with, this was not supposed to happen. That scene, Milo was supposed to be all the way till the end of the movie. And he just couldn't do the makeup. And you can actually see in the movie that he is rather uncomfortable. And he doesn't spend a whole lot of time in the makeup. Like, and then when the camera's on him, it's only on him for seconds at a time. And the only time it's ever on him for an extended period is the moment when he is explaining time travel. And it's on him for maybe a minute, and then it cuts, and it comes back, and you can tell he's in a different position and stuff like that. So you can tell they took the makeup off, or did something. So, yeah, he did not like this. And that's okay. He didn't come back for any sequels, anything like that. But, so, in order to show how important these apes are, they have kind of a hearing with the government. And they're like, and the doctor, Dr. Dixon, is just like trying to explain to them, these apes can talk. And they're like, stop. They can't. They can't talk. That's bullcrap. Whatever. And he's like, just ask him a question and you'll get it. And he's like, what's your name? Zira. See, that's not even a word. She can't talk. She's just like a parrot. It's mimicry. She's like, parrot? Like, yeah, the parrot. And then she lets him have it. And then he's like, whoa. And then we get a great scene after that where he has to talk to Cornelius, and we get this scene.
Does the other one talk?
Only when she lets me.
Which is the greatest line in the movie. Only when she lets me. it's true husband to wife stuff. Like that is that's just realistic right there. That is, and they mention that they're married, and the one religious priest, he has the little white collar thing, stands up, married. We can't get married. They're animals. It's like, calm down, preacher. No, screw it. No one watches anyway. But they get up in arms and everything. But after that, the public starts loving them, and they basically become celebrities. So it's pretty great. Okay, so then we get a montage of them seeing a hotel for the first time, going clothing shopping, and like we see a suited gorilla, a suited chimpanzee, and then Zira goes and gets like the most 70s clothing you will ever see in your life. This right here. Yeah, that is some 70s stuff right there. That's stuff my mom used to wear. And it's glorious. I mean, jeez. They're like, they introduce her to champagne, which they call grape juice plus. So she doesn't even know what's in it, and she's like chugging it and getting drunk. And they ask Cornelius like what he thinks of human women, and he's like, very human. So it's just a big montage of them living their celebrity. And we get the bad guy, who we don't really know is a bad guy until like basically the I don't know, like an hour into the movie. But Otto Haslund is trying to explain time travel, and it is the most convoluted thing I've ever seen in my life. Like he's talking about a painting of a guy, a painting of a landscape, and a guy's like, oh, but I want to be in the painting. So he paints himself painting the landscape, and he's like, wait, I want to be in it more. And he like paints himself painting the painting of the landscape. And like he just explains it as regression going back, and then he switches it to, time is like a highway with infinite lanes that all lead to the future. If you switch lanes, you can change your future. But sometimes, I think these apes have got into our lane. Like, what the f*** are you talking about, dude? And I think even like the dude who's interviewing him in the in the TV interview is sitting here like, the hell are you talking about, dude? It's like, I mean, it makes sense. It does make sense. It's like, okay, yeah, but dude, you had to go about it the most convoluted way you possibly could. You couldn't have made that simpler at all. Come on, man. But I think it was more along the lines of like, oh, we got to make this guy sound smart. And it's like, it didn't. It made him sound like a douche. Whatever, man. But we get a chimpanzee bath scene where Zira's in the bath, and Cornelius walks in. He's just like, oh, okay, I'm going to go over here. And he's like, how is that? She's like, it's soothing and very wet. He's like, all right. Just like walks off. Jesus. Oh, jeez. But then, like, we have another scene where Zira, and this one was, like, made me laugh because she's standing up in front of all these women, and, I mean, they've been on Earth for all of, like, a week, maybe, and she's like, us women have heads as well as hands, and men should let us use them. And I'm like, you've been on the Earth for a week and you're already a feminist? What? do women corrupt other women that quickly? Holy crap. I'm not saying feminism is corruption, but I mean, dang, dude. Like, yeah, women are strong and all that. Like, I love women, but dude, that was some serious feminist speech. Like, she got into it. Man, that was great. Hell, my wife works way harder than I do. Shoot, I work online all day. She's a waitress. I can never do that. My wife's way stronger than I am. No way. Screw that mess. But man, she was getting it, and she was wearing the suit she bought too, which is funny. And the women are all, yeah, woo, women, go women, girl, vagina. Yeah, but it's like, it's a great scene, and I highly recommend watching that scene because it is a wonderful scene. So, oh man, but we get to the serious because now that I've gone through this part, I've gone through the celebrity part. I get to explain this movie out now because I did this on purpose to make it sound like it's just this happy-go-lucky movie, because actually this movie is the darkest and bleakest freaking sequel to this movie, in this entire first 5 series. This is so bleak and so dark. I mean, it's oof. So from here on, this is where the movie kind of goes. They start turning down the lights, because we learn how the apes came to be. We learn that there was a plague that dogs and cats had, and it killed off all the dogs and cats. And so there's a line in there. I really tried to find the clip to it. If I find it, I'll look for it while I'm editing. If I find it, I'll plop it in here. I'll plop it in here right now. And but basically, it is that man will kill his brother, but won't kill his dog. And so the plague wiped out the dogs and cats, and man had no pets. So man had no pets, and he'll kill his brother, but not his dog. So they took apes as pets, and then later the apes would learn that, or the humans would learn that apes can do more than dogs and cats, and they make them cook and clean and basically make them become slaves in a sense. And the apes realize this and realize, hey, we're not slaves, and they revolt and defeat the humans, and that's how the Planet of the Apes happened. So we also have talks of Zira dissecting humans and stuff like that, and then from Cornelius we get, yes, the first ape to speak was the leader of the revolt, Aldo, which is a continuity error because it's Caesar that actually comes back, but he says Aldo. So, and there is an ape named Aldo in Battle for the Planet of the Apes, I think. Now that I think about it, I think there is an ape named Aldo. But anyway. So Caesar, so there's a continuity error right there, but we find out that monkey is the N word to them. Like, it's a very offensive word. Someone calls them monkeys. He's like, don't call us monkeys. It's a very offensive word. He's like, okay. And we do find out that because of the dissection, because of everything that's going on, they are going to because Zira is pregnant at the moment. She's been pregnant this whole time. And we're like, we are going to terminate the pregnancy, and we're going to make it to where they can't have babies, because we don't need this to happen. Right there, it's getting dark. And they're going to kill this baby. And they come in, they're going to drug him, put him to sleep. And then he's like, do you want some? The orderly comes in, do you want some food? No. Well, what about that little monkey of yours? And it sets Cornelius off, and he slams the tray in his face to just try to distract to run, but he actually ends up killing the guy. And now they're on the run. So we're in there, bad times. And he ends up finding Stephanie Branton and Lewis Dixon. They're like, look, we need help here. I did not mean to kill that guy. It was an accident. Cool. So they put him in the circus, because it's a traveling circus and they can get out of there. And the leader of the circus is the awesome Ricardo Montalban, who I love. Ricardo Montalban, if you don't know who Ricardo Montalban is, I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and he played Khan. He was Khan, and he was an amazing villain. I love him. Yeah, he is Ricardo. Ricardo Montalban. He plays Armando. He is a leader. He is awesome. He has the very first thing you hear him say is, so you want me to take in a couple of chimpanzees that are wanted by the government, and if I'm caught, I'm sure to serve jail time? The answer is yes. It's like, okay, cool. And he's in, so we find out there is a chimp that was just born in captivity, and it's born by this Heloise. Once again, real chimp, fake mom, and it's really bad makeup. It's horrible makeup. You can't even tell that this chimp is real. I mean, you can tell that this chimp is fake. So it's awful. But they end up finding out that, like, they're hiding out in some kind of zoo or circus. Go search all the circuses. They had to leave, and Ricardo has a moment. It's like this moment right here. I wish I could have found a video clip of it, because I found it to be just hilarious. Because he's standing there, he's like, I love apes, chimpanzees most of all, and then he looks straight at Cornelius, and then leans down to Zira, and he's like, and I like you most of all. And it's like, Cornelius is standing right there, and he's like, I like you, but she's way cooler, dude. Screw you. It's like, aw, poor Cornelius. No one loves Cornelius. It's like, I'm standing right here. Screw you, buddy. I'm glad that Kirk kicked your ass. I'm gonna kill you for killing Spock, you jackass. It's like, what? But they escape, and then there's this stupid moment where I hated it, but she's like, okay, I realize she just had a baby, and she's probably in a lot of pain, and she's carrying her bag. I'm talking about Zira here. She's carrying her bag, and she's like plopping along, and then she just stops and puts the bag down in a clearly visible place. Like, let me leave the bad guys some breadcrumbs, because they're going to go hide out in a derelict ship. And but yeah, they do find the bag, and they find out they're in these derelict ships. The bad guy, Otto Haslin, finds them, shoots everyone. He shoots Zira. She gets down. She drops the baby, and he pops 5 rounds into the baby. And I'm not even kidding. The baby is sitting there in its little thing, and he's like, pop, pop, pop. I'm like, this is so dark. And then, he gets shot to death by Cornelius. Cornelius is like, man, that's my wife, pop, 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 like that. And then Cornelius gets shot by the army, and he dies. And then you got the final shot of these apes is Zira holding, crawling over to Cornelius. She actually takes the baby, throws it in the water. I mean, there's a reason why. But she throws the baby in the water and then covers Cornelius and dies. And you're like, what the this is supposed to be a happy movie. This is like so fun and lots of happiness, and then suddenly everyone's dead, and we get a baby getting shot 5 times. Like, whoa! Like it went like spirits are up here, and then spirits are down here. And it's like, oh God, man. But I digress, because that's not the end of the movie. So the end of the movie, and I'm going to play it because it's funny, is it turns out that our hero ape woman, Zira, switched the babies. She switched her baby with Eloise's baby, the chimp in the circus. And Armando knew the entire time. He was like, all right, and they switched the babies. So you get this scene. Yeah, the baby's saying mama, but if you watch that again, you can rewind it if you want. It's like mama rewind, mama rewind, mama rewind. It's like they keep playing it back and forth, and you're like, is this supposed to be like real time, or is it supposed to be rewound? Because it's clearly being rewound, and I'm wondering if audiences caught that, because if they didn't, they're dumb. They're just like, yeah, that's being rewound, dude, and it didn't look good. But that's actually the end. It ended with it saying mama, and then the screen goes black, and it says mama clearly. So it's saying mama, mama, and then it like goes black and says mama, absolutely clearly. And then the credits start rolling to, once again, no music. They're known for that. So that's the end of that one. Now, I did love this. This was not a masterpiece like the first one, but because it's a little cheesy in some spots, and with the change in tone, I wasn't a huge fan of that. Like, it was so happy, and then suddenly it's so dark. But I gave it 7.5 out of 10. Not a bad movie by any means. It just did not reach the heights of some of the other movies I've seen, and it almost got an 8, but it's just the makeup of the gorilla in the zoo and Eloise, the chimp in the circus, was just so bad. Some of the cornier lines didn't do it for me. So, good movie. Not all there. But the next movie is Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. This one is about the ape uprising. So this one is a very war-like movie. This was in 1972. This is about Caesar's uprising. This is the point where the apes become slaves, and they revolt. So we do get to see the first ape speak, which is Caesar, but he already can speak. So he didn't learn to speak; he already could speak. And Caesar is the son of Zira and Cornelius, and Caesar is played by Roddy McDowall. So Roddy McDowall plays his own son. Cool, I love it. But enough of that. I gotta thank you for watching again. Hopefully this format isn't too bad. I like it. The only thing that I don't really like about it is it's not in widescreen, but I have the 2 black bars on the side, so and it's not so far away, so I can't hand talk as much. But I think it'll sound better with the mic, and that's really what I want. I would rather you hear my voice than anything else. So thank you for watching, and join me next time for Conquest on the Planet of the Apes.